Welcome back, painting friends. Today we are going to paint a field of flowers. Colors you're going to need, well, almost every color in the rainbow, okay? Pink, red, orange, yellow, green, light blue, purple, and white. I always have my favorite 4 brushes in the studio. I've got my 1-inch flat brush, my 10, 6, and 1 round brush. I always have a cup of water and a rag for keeping my brushes clean. And remember, if you're enjoying what you're seeing here today, like and subscribe to the YouTube channel so you can see all of my tutorials. So with my 1-inch flat brush, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take white and just kind of put it in an angled line going up my canvas. Maybe 2 or 3 of these little angled lines, and this is quite a bit of what brain's not working with my mouth today. Quite a lot of white paint going on, and that's okay. Because now what I'm going to do is take that same brush, didn't wash it off at all, and I'm going to grab some blue, and I'm just going to kind of scribble along these white areas down here. This is going to be my clouds. I'm just going to make a fluffy line right through there. And all I'm doing is taking that brush and just kind of scribbling and scrunching along. Then I'm going to wipe that brush off. I'm not going to wash it off. And I'm just going to go in and I'm going to take that same motion with just blue paint. And I'm going to fill in the rest of this background. I can kind of let it play in with that white a little bit, but I don't want to get rid of that center area of the white. And there we have a really great sky. It's a very textured sky ready for spring. So we're going to let this dry just a little bit. I'm not going to let it dry all the way. We're going to let this dry just a little bit, and then we're going to add in our grass. Like I said, it is mostly dry, still a little bit wet, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some on my palette. I'm going to take some white, put it down here, and mix some light green up. But I'm also going to take some yellow over here and mix some yellow green. So I'm going to have like a white green, a yellow green, and a regular green. So then with that white green color, so this is just white and green on my brush, I'm going to start at the tip and top of some of these, and I'm just going to make some lines that kind of come down. Okay, so as they're up at the top a little bit higher, they're going to be skinnier, and when they come down lower, they're going to be fatter. And I'm just going to make these go like slowly cascading down towards this bottom corner. I'm going to do the same thing with that yellow green, and then the same thing with the dark green. And then down here at the base level, I'm going to take those colors, and I'm just going to kind of pull them up just to fill in that bottom space. I can use any of these colors I want. I can even mix and match them on my brush, just kind of have fun and use up the rest of those colors by pulling them up and across to fill in the bottom of our canvas. Now I'm going to go ahead and show you 2 different types of flowers, actually maybe 3 different types of flowers, and then we're going to move on. So I'm going to zoom you in right over here. I'm going to show you how to make these different kinds of flowers, and then I'm going to fill my space with flowers. All right, I'm going to work in this area right here, showing you guys a couple different flowers. First one I'm going to show you is a purple flower. So I'm going to take white paint on my number 6 round brush and a little bit of purple paint at the top. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to make a center spot wherever I want my center of my flower to go. And I'm just going to set my brush down and kind of pull it down to that spot. See how simple that is? I can wipe my brush off and I can grab some of that dark green paint, make a small little angle at the bottom. And then I can take that brush and I can make that line come all the way down to the bottom of my canvas. There we go. One flower done. Super simple. Another flower I'm going to show you is super simple daisy. So I'm going to take some yellow paint and just put a spot right there. Wipe that brush off, go back in with some white paint and just kind of set my brush down going all the way around it. The shape of the brush is what makes the petals. Okay, so there's flower number 2. Again, super simple. Now the harder flowers are the tulips. So when we're going to make those, watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to take one color, so I'm going to pick white, and I'm going to make kind of an irregular oval. Okay, so an irregular oval. Like I said, my canvas isn't totally dry, so I've got some green and some blue coming through, but that's okay. And when I make that irregular oval, I'm going to go ahead and fill that whole space in with white. And again, it doesn't bother me that there's some green coming through. And then I'm going to pick a color for the center. For this one, I'm going to do blue. So I'm going to start just a little bit above the center line. And I'm going to pull that color up and around. But I'm not going to let it get too much into the bottom area, because I want that to be where my flower's kind of cupping it. It's coming up in the center. I take some white and kind of blend that in here. I'm going to go for like a really nice seamless line of color. And a little bit darker right down here at the bottom. And then down here at the bottom, I'm going to add a little bit of blue also. This is actually going to be the underside of the flower. You'll see that in just a minute. It's going to be kind of the shadow of it. And then I'm going to take that blue and I'm going to make a couple of lines. I'm going to go from the top down to where my center is supposed to be. And then with a clean brush with some white paint, I'm going to make, let's say like a squiggly line right across the top of these. That front line is going to be significantly wider than the bottom part. And then in the center, I do need some little green lines. I'm going to take some green, just kind of pull some green up. Maybe even put a little dot of yellow at the top of each of those. I like to use the back of my brush to put yellow on. Perfect. Now, as far as the flowers that haven't bloomed yet, I can take a light green or maybe a yellow green color. I can even mix some of my greens together and kind of come up with a new shade of green. But I am going to have some areas where there's going to be some bulbs of colors that did not open yet. So to do that, I'm just going to take this brush and make like a little pea pod. Okay, so it's just going to be like a little rounded area here. The top is going to be really, really, really long and skinny. And the bottom, I'm going to have just a little bit of green down here. And it's just going to kind of pull up through the edges. And then I'll add a little green spot down there, and of course the green line. Oh, you know what I forgot to do up here? Just add my green line. So I gotta add my stem right here. And I take a little bit of white at the top of this. I'm gonna highlight a little bit of that really tall spot right there. I might even add a little bit of yellow to it. And that's the nice thing, is you can just really kind of play with the colors on here until you get them where you like them. But using just the very tip of your brush gives you that ability to really kind of change the shape and the point and kind of mix gently. I do want those green lines to see. All right, so those are the 4 types of flowers I'm going to make into my picture. So let's zoom out and get started. Okay, so now that all of these flowers are done, let's go ahead and add our last couple of flowers in. So I'm going to take a little bit of green paint and make just a couple of these long, skinny lines. And maybe like 3 of them. Last one right there. And then I'm going to use purple and white or pink and white. And I'm just going to start at the top, and I'm just going to kind of dot into like a small skinny triangle. So I'm just going to take that brush with some purple and some white, and I'm just going to make a bunch of little polka dots going from the top of that down in a triangle shape. And then I also want to add a couple of smaller flowers down here to the bottom, and I'm just going to take the back of my brush with a back with some white, and then I'm going to go in with that light blue and make some circles around it. So back of my brush is just a white polka dot in the middle, and then I'm going to take that white and blue and just kind of make some circles around it. I lied. I'm going to switch over to my favorite pencil. I do like to make some of my circles with pencils, and I think these will look better if they are pencil spots rather than paintbrush spots. Yep, I like the pencil better. There we have it. I think we're finished. Make sure when you're finished that you sign your name. I always put my initials in the bottom right corner. Sign it in a color that's going to show up well. Remember, I never get to see what you're painting at home. So if you would take a picture of your painting, and post it on my Facebook page, Painting with a Purpose. Make sure that you like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Painting with a Purpose. You are kept up to date on all of my tutorials. And remember, as always, stay kind, stay creative, and stay safe. Have a great day, friends. Bye now.